All right, guys, it's day 29. I spent all my time today on the shower. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so really happy that I decided to plywood the walls. It just makes everything so much better on this hardibacker. It's just the hardibacker on now with this wall, and the entire sheet is rock solid. I mean, you can grab this and shake the entire bus. It's not going nowhere. I went through, made sure the pan was perfect. Underneath the pan, everything was perfect. There was so when you're doing this, you want to like go in there and make sure that it's everything's square. So you can't start doing this until you can do that. This should have no rock in it back and forth. You should be able to put this on the wall and it should be solid. If you have rock in there, that means something's not plumb, something's not level, you need to fix it. So, you know, what I did was I went up this side, made sure it was plumb, and I went up this side because there was a gap in this plywood, so it was bothering me. So I went up, and then sure enough, I got to like right there, and there was a little bit of rock in it. So I started focusing on this wall. And I guess, like, you know, I was waiting for the guy to come take out the windows. So I kind of left the walls loose. You remember in the previous video, I framed all the walls, but I just didn't bolt them to the ground. So I don't know if that I was distracted or something and just bolted them down, because thinking that they were already bolted down, so I put more screws in there. But either way, it was a little bit out of level. So you could see, I took it out and re-drilled it. Had to. So that was throwing off my square on my shower. And so I narrowed it down to what it was, fixed it. Now it's rock solid, bolted it all to the floor. This back wall, you can see the studs in there. I studded out the whole window area of that back wall, studded the windows out. So there's a 1-inch stud going from there, another one, and then there's studs going up and down like a big checkerboard back there. And then this plywood was actually flush, so I drilled through this plywood into the furring strips into the frame of the bus, how the walls were connected below the windows. So there was already furring strips in there, and so I took a drill bit, found my furring strip line, and drilled right through the furring strips and right into the main steel frame. So the back wall is rock solid. Rock solid. Yeah, so I mean, the hardibacker, I just scored this. I left this area right here because I'm gonna double stud this, but it was really, really easy to score with a regular knife. You do not need the carbide blades. You don't need any of that. Just a regular knife with a sharp blade. Go right down, make your line, follow the grid. You can see there's the checkerboard lines. Just follow one line, go straight down, and then do it like 4 or 5 times, and then smack it a couple times up and down with a hammer, and it'll come right off. That strip comes right off. But yeah, it's rock solid. And another tip on this hardibacker, and a lot of people use the impact guns to try to get the screws to sink below the surface. Don't do that. Just use make it easy on yourself. And once you get your hardibacker up there, just take a drill and take a 5/16 drill bit, and just go find out where your stud is at, and just drill a little bit of the 5/16 in every spot that you want to put screws. So that's what I did. I took it in my drill, and all across the studs I just drilled 5/16 dimples. Really easy. It's just a click of the button. Whee! That's it. And it makes a nice dimple, and it's the same exact size as the screw head. So when you put the screws in there, they're sitting flush. You don't need to impact them and risk cracking the hardibacker. Not that it cracks, it doesn't, it's really strong. But you don't have to, make a nasty hole, because no matter what, if you don't make a dimple in there with a drill bit or whatever you're going to use to do that, no matter what you do, even with an impact gun, they're not going to go in as nice as they do with a dimple. When you have a dimple, the screws go in, they go in perfect. Like they're smooth. They're perfectly smooth. You don't have to impact them in and have the volcano that comes out of cement board. So yeah, make your dimples all along your studs and then screw your screws in. It'll be perfect. So yeah, that's what I did today. Like I said, definitely recommend putting the plywood on there when you guys do the shower for the bus. Highly recommend that. It just makes everything solid. It makes everything fit together like a glove. So yeah. So before I leave, I'll have all the hardibacker up, and then tomorrow, you know, I'm gonna mortar and tape it off, and you know, do that whole waterproofing tile thing. And yeah, that's what it was today. I mean, I'm glad it doesn't look like I got a lot done, but I did. This shower is a pain in the ass. No matter what, doing showers, I hate doing showers. And doing them in a bus takes a lot more thought. And you just have to be more aware because it's not going, your bus is going to be slant, especially behind the back tires. The back of the bus, if you guys remember riding in a bus when you were a kid, the back of the bus slams up and down all day while you're driving. It just slams up and down. I mean, you have to take that into consideration. This is totally different than a house. It's not a house. You do this and the board never moves for 100 years. The board will sit perfectly still. I mean, you can get away with a lot more in a house than you can get away with in a bus. In a bus, this thing's going to be taking a massive amount of abuse, especially if you're going to be driving all around the country. I mean, I'm not driving all around the country, so, but even still, I'm going to be driving. So do the plywood. It just works out better. It's way stronger. Can't say how good of a decision that was enough. It was just really happy I decided to do that. I had a friend that built a bus back in the day, and his shower, I mean, he framed it off. He did it like you would do it in a house. And within, I think it was like 3 or 4 months, his tiles were cracked. The grout was cracking in the seams. You know, he framed it off just like you would frame off a house shower, but it wasn't enough. There's too much twist. Every time you turn this bus, it's so top heavy, the bus kind of leans. And all these, you know, you might not notice it, but it does give a little bit in certain areas. The bus is solid, but it's not like indestructible. So you're gonna definitely need some better walls for the showers. So yeah. All right, guys, that's it. I'm gonna clean up.